throughout the night. I think we'll probably see a bit more of that now, and that is exactly the first ban that comes in. Now, the second attacker has been interesting on Oregon so far. We've had a little bit of variety. I think we might see a hard breach, but we will see how that pans out over the next few seconds. It is going to be Black Dragon's choice here, second of all, and they will come in with the Hibana ban. So there is the hard breach as suspected, and hatchers will be not safe, but safer.
Okay. Interesting stuff so far, of course. Fairly standard, nothing too out the ordinary. We had a couple of targeted bans early on today, but other than that, it's been very much what you would expect. Now looking to see what we get here. Mirror's gone. Of course, you can see a lot of usability, very effective on a map like Oregon because of the walls you have. If you want to be able to just completely run amok and cause a bit of a nuisance. And finally, Echo taken out. So yeah, fairly classic stuff there.
Yeah, nothing too surprising. I think we probably could have called those beforehand. And it means, once again, that the Melusi is available, as is the Ace. And I agree and echo what you said earlier, Jackie, about Ace. It does seem to be the higher pick rate is going towards Ace at the minute. Melusi is being brought in certain situations and can be very oppressive when used. But it seems the Banshees are being dealt with reasonably easily as well in terms of being cleared out, as we saw very well on the top floor attack there of Cafe in the last round, where the Ash was able to just get in there very easily and clear that out. So it really does take some careful positioning of ADSs and magnets to defend those Banshees. They are, whilst not, you know, as soft as everybody might like, they are certainly possible to deal with reasonably easily without that sort of added protection of the other operators.
I think it makes sense as well. Like, from what we've heard across the pro scene, everyone seems to think they're both strong, very strong in their current states. But it does just feel like, obviously, Melusi, just more situational, certain maps, certain positions, especially that the Banshee has a much bigger role on. Whereas Ace, just as a whole, his kit feels so strong. He's got the firearms that pay the bills. He's got the Selma devices. He has so many of them as well, which I think is the other reason, because it's just, individually, they are strong. They're very usable. You've got the mad throw that you can get on them, so you can use them from a distance. You can use them to basically tear down entire hard breaches in seconds, but you've also got opportunities to use them multiple times. It's definitely a strong operator in the game at the moment, so no surprises. He's been by far the most picked out of the newcomers.
Well, being able to clear out the utility as well, it's the only hard breacher in the game, really, that has that. I know Maverick does to a degree. We could make a very loose argument to say that Maverick can do that, but I wouldn't class him quite in the same bracket as the hard breachers either. He sort of falls into his own little middle ground. But in terms of the out-and-out hard breachers of Thermite, Hibana, and Ace, he's the only one, again, realistically able to, at a distance, take out things like shields and other utility and apply those Selmas to other objects like that as easily, you know, on the floor and things like that. So yeah, very, very versatile and very useful kit. And as you know, you say as well, the firearm, one of the best guns in the game, a lot of people would argue. So no surprises to see Ace so consistently present. Breaks my heart a little bit to see Thermite just being left out in the cold, Jackie. He's whimpering right now. Oh
mate, genuinely, he's gone to the wayside. He's been forgotten about. The Thermite hot games.
I still love him.
Oh yeah. He'll always have a little special place, but we'll see if he'll start to get a little bit more love as the season develops. For now, though, a lot of aggression seems to be what's brought to the table, more than just a lover's quarrel between these two teams, as they tear down the walls, they're breaking windows, they're shattering the house to pieces, and they're looking to try and cause some murders inside of the dormitory once they can push their way around. Slow and steady so far, but they are just utilising those drones, clearing out the close angle and getting a lot of reconnaissance from this position.
Black Dragons once again have got themselves into position nice and quick. They start opening up that dome's wall. Try to get aggressive, but Hornetau shut down on a tight angle from Duds there. That was really, really nice from the Jaeger, and that leaves us 5 versus 4, and the utility will continue to be cleared, and there is plenty of time left on the clock for Black Dragons here, but they need to start winning a fight or two. Now, this is an interesting matchup, so if you're unaware of the Clash versus Montagna sort of method of what happens happens, Clash is a perfect counter to Montagna because the electricity will still damage him through the shield, so he can keep that shield fully extended, but will die over time and will be taken out here actively in the round as well. So we now find ourselves 5 versus 3, and it's a great start for INTZ with 35 seconds to go.
Scary spot to be in. A massive disadvantage when it comes to the battle of attrition here for Black Dragons. Manpower at a bare minimum. 3 versus 4. Duds is down but not out for PZD. This is where it gets a little bit rough as well. The Clash can come around and shock you, but the real shocking play is going to be Alamal. Hits them with a business as he slaughters them with the SMG. Patoxy, it's a matter of time before he falls. The Clash could essentially just walk in and bully him, but in the end, Alamal decides he wants to make it a hat-trick, rocks up with Big Papa Pump, introduces him, and that will shut down the round.
Clash very disruptive on that round. We saw the challenge onto the Monty, just forcing him back, ultimately leading to his very untimely death a few seconds later, and then again mixing it up there at the end of the round, just becoming a bit like a wasp in the room, Jackie, just trying to play with that Clash present, made it very difficult to focus.
Get it out, quick, open the window, and it's just there. That's the problem with wasps, right? Normally, you open a window and it's a fly, Tim. They tend to find their way out. If it's a wasp, it's just there, just
they don't want to
buzzing
leave.
at you. No,
that's the difference.
They're aggressive.
They make a choice. They don't want to leave.
All right, they know full well they could go out the front door or the back window. Instead, they're there just buzzing in your face, absolutely giving it.
They're a funny thing, of wasps. They're so small, but they just incite immediate fear in people, me included.
Oh, yeah. The panic you see the second a wasp comes by. Because at first people were just like, oh, is it a fly? And then they clock it's a wasp. The room changes. The atmosphere entirely is just different.
There's no panic like a wasp in a car, Jackie. Let me tell you that.
Oh, that's game changing. That's a pull over, get out, set the car on fire, buy a new car.
Simple as that. And the question is now, will Black Dragons be able to set Laundry on fire? That's exactly what they're going to try. They need to get in there and they need to light the room up with kills, preferably. Try and get that diffuser down. We haven't seen too much objective play coming out so far in this game. It's been very team deathmatch, essentially, with teams just going in and cleaning the other out wholesale. And that's exactly what we saw last time around. Black Dragons unable to get themselves into that position to plant. Right now, they are going to be assaulting onto Laundry, and as we said and commented earlier, it is one of the most interesting sites in Siege at the minute for my money. It's competitive Siege because there are so many options on just exactly how and where to form these attacks and how to push the defenders around in sight, and you never really know what you're going to get on any Laundry round.
Hence, could be a spin cycle, could be a high heat, could just be a whitewash with, you know, a colour catcher in there maybe to try and stop the one pink shirt you've put in from bleeding into the other clothes. There's a lot that goes into it, but right now we'll see how this is going to develop, as we've got about 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. INTZ, of course, you've got the opening round, a fantastic start, a lot better than what we had initially on Cafe, and it does go to show they've warmed up. They're coming into it feeling a bit fresher based off what we've seen, especially for Alamal. The 3K was clean. It was a good attack, especially the opening 2 frags that he picked up back-to-back. That certainly knocked Black Dragons for 6. Right now, though, it's the 5 players alive on either side that matter most. Bit by bit, they're attempting to assert dominance, map control being taken. PZD gets close contact with the Clash, but there is no opportunity to follow that up. Even though the shield went up, they couldn't get the shots off. It's just damage from the grenade launcher that goes out behind to tag him down to 50 HP. He can just bob and weave, Tim. It's awkward control here towards the stairs. You might be able to knock it up with the play off the Ash, but it's all ifs and buts.
Great Clash play so far from Drunks, making an absolute nuisance of himself. He's wasted half of the round, still got half of his health, still fighting, and can still delay that push. He's holding up 2 men single-handedly right now, and he's got support. We can see Malusi there just on the freezer door, dipping in and out of freezer and trying to work on both angles. Still, it is making that push very, very difficult. So the switch comes around. Hugzord is looking to apply some pressure from Laundry. He will be joined by Lagonis on the ace. And right now, Black Dragons, they need to find a kill or two because INTZ, they feel fairly well rooted here in Laundry.
Ooh. Bit of a tag back, at least slows them down. Hugsord, of course, dropped down to around 45 HP at this point, just as we hit the 45-second mark. Revving their engines, ready to sprint their way in. Black Dragons, you have to take a confident approach into this. They need to find the opening frags to be able to force the clash back into a corner. But they're the ones getting cornered as Duds opens it up with the initial contact. Lagunis off the back of the trade, onto Duds at least. He is down, but he's not out. But they're trying to take down the rest of the members. Clean shots coming across. Lagunis dropped, and we've only got a 2 versus 3 left here. This round is going from bad to worse. There's commotion and carnage. No clean shots, but there is at least a headshot here from Hornetow in a 1v2. 8 seconds. Diffuser down in a really rough spot as he goes round, trapped between a rock and a hard place, and they will finish him.
As expected, INTZ coming out very strong on the defence so far, and it is exactly what they need because, as I say, we've seen INTZ play on Oregon previously and they struggled on the attack once again, just being a little bit too slow. So they need to get themselves all the lead that they can do here to ensure that that doesn't become their undoing. But so far, 2 good rounds. Dorms and Laundry locked down, but now they have to go to one of those difficult tertiary sites. It is going to be Salão de Jantar, which is dining and kitchen, they will be heading to next, and we will see just exactly how they lock it down. Will they play the man in showers? Quite often seen, but more recently, defenders seem to have been dipping away from it a little bit. Sort of, there's the possibility of the half reinforce, half soft wall, and just try to hold long angles onto anybody pushing into small office. Quite often there will be a presence up in the dorms room as well to try and hold vertical angles down onto that default plant spot. Interesting to see how INTZ set up exactly here.
Overall, though, already, it's a much better display from INTZ. They're hitting their mark a lot earlier on. They found their form. They haven't come in and started to stumble onto the second map. It's been way more along the lines of what we expect from this roster, based off their opening game. Based off the fact that Alamau, he really is playing 4D chess against them right now on the Rook. 5 frags, not a single death on the board. It's been clean stuff, hitting his shots. He had the 3K previously, a follow-up with 2 frags into the prior round as well, so the multi-kills are still up there. But Black Dragons, can they stop that? Do they have an answer for this one? Hornetow, close in early on, of course, trying to go aggressive on the Ash. It's a perfect fit. Let's see if she will get anything off the back of that, though. Drones going in, rest of the team spreading out, as it does look a little bit more split and pick, and there potentially was going to be an opening pick there, but it doesn't come out just yet. They do have the lower ground control, though, towards basement level, and this gives Hornetow a lot of info and a lot of backstab potential, Tim.
As you say, Black Dragons just trying to get themselves into crossfire situations wherever they can. They've got angles coming in from small office and then trying to hold the windows that lead onto that showers corridor and kitchen door area. But marking out the shield that is being played behind inside of showers, and that's going to be a really important battle as this one goes on now. Interestingly, we've got Hornetow just working his way through Freezer very, very quietly here, just sort of stealthily trying to move up onto that flank to see exactly what he can do. He's got himself in behind, and a great opener onto Duds. It does not matter that the prox alarm is ringing out. It doesn't impact him in the slightest, and that is a great start from Hornetow. Hugsord joins him as well, getting one on the board with a kill onto Alamau, and it's short time before Vitz manages to trade out, and we find ourselves 2 versus 4 as Lagonis gets in on the action.
Bill gets dropped, Hugsord pulls out the pistol, but he can't land the shots. Chasing him back, running through the servers, but will he be served by the shotty? Of course he will. Bullets to the feet, they go flying. He's not going to have to buy shoes anymore, but they might not have a chance of securing the round. Drunks, left in a 1 versus 3. Again, has to rotate his way through. We have just seen the diffuser go down and time is ticking. This mounts more pressure onto him. Does he know? Outside the window! The pre-fire from PZD off the back of the audio cue nearly gave the game away, but he still bypasses him. Zofia will pick it up, stunning him into the round and shutting that one down. Another one going the way of Black Dragons here into the 4th round.
That won't be the end of the world for INTZ. It was their site, and it allows them now to go back through the same rotation. They'll be hoping for more of the same when it comes to Dorms and Laundry. That would then guarantee them a 4-2 as a minimum on the half, and that is where they need to be. They need to be coming out of this defensive side with an advantage in place. If they could even get a win on the tertiary site and go 5-1, then that is a massive upset to begin with. But Black Dragons, they've now seen the hand of INTZ. They know what's coming on Dorms and what's coming on Laundry. They have a good idea of what the setup will be, and they will no doubt just iterate on what they have done previously and try to have a bigger impact than they managed to last time around. Now, never really got any sort of hold over Dorms. Clash made it an absolute nightmare for them. And as we can see, no wonder Drunks has brought Clash along again. So the question for me, the answers need to be given to by Black Dragons is, how are you going to deal with that Clash? How are you going to take her out now? Sophia has been brought along, definite option there, but limited. I'd have suggested that maybe a Kali just to be a direct counter might have been a good idea, might have been enough to scare INTZ away from this continuous Clash pick.
Oh yeah, it certainly makes it harder to utilize it, right? Because it gives you that easy counter. Like the time of how long she actually holds the shield up in the air after getting shot by the Kali, it's more than enough to completely rinse any Clash player that dares to try and get a little bit cheeky with it and try and push up and really overstep their boundary. But if you don't have that counter, you don't have the opportunity, it's a little bit worse for wear. We saw the aggression where, yeah, the Zofia had a good opportunity to punish, but all it did was knock off a little bit of HP, stunt her for a second, but then she can reset. And if you mess up, you have very limited opportunities to knock the shield up otherwise. Hornetau could have a bit of an opportunity here, but that's not the dream. Turns the corner, gets spotted, stunned, and then slain by Duds.
Direct revenge there for Duds, who suffered the opening death to Hornetau in round 3. He makes his mark and gets one back, and that leaves now 5 versus 4 for INTZ, and they start cruising towards that same outcome on Dorms that they saw last time around. Black Dragons really need the next frag. They don't want to go down to 3 versus 5. This is a very tough site to assault onto, even when you've only got maybe 3 defenders left. When they are deep entrenched in kids and main Dorms, very, very tough to uproot them, let alone when you are at a man disadvantage. So Black Dragons applying pressure here to Attic, but this didn't really work for them last time. They pushed them onto in this way, and Drunks was just brought over with that electrified shield of the Clash. We can see the Toxic Babe canisters being considered as well, and they will all be used to move that Montagne back.
BZD waiting for a push to come around, holding his own for now. But they get locked into a little bit of an awkward altercation here. The clash of the 2 shields. Vitz picking up another frag as well. Hugzord nearly set ablaze by the Goyo shield that's been detonated in front of him. The Inferno keeping him back. He's really fighting all the elements at this point. It's like we're watching Avatar, and it's not going well for him, Tim. He'll be overpowered by the electricity in a matter of seconds here if push comes to shove. Tries to do something before he dies, dropping the shield, donning the pistol, but he won't get a kill. He'll just get killed. 40 seconds left. PZD charges through the window, but he is done for. Overpowered by the SMG in close proximity there by VNX, as INTZ snap up another one.
Hugzord left with absolutely no option on the Montagne there but to go for the self-sacrifice method, drop the shield and just try to take somebody, anybody with him. But as I said, it didn't work last time. It was unlikely to work this time. They had the smoke. They had the Clash of Drunks available to play in and around Attic, and Amonte is always going to struggle to make a realistic impact in that scenario because they are the 2 counters in this game to that shield. They will damage him, shield extended or not, and that is what they saw. Clash just absolutely draining the health of the Monte over time. 3-1 it will be then to INTZ, and this is a much better start for them when we saw on Cafe, taking full advantage of being on the defensive side here, and they are fighting tooth and nail to get themselves something out of this matchup. So far, Black Dragons, of course, winning Cafe 7-5. They are looking to secure a majority of the points, but if INTZ can come back here and win Oregon, they will take a share of the spoils with 1 point each.
With the way INTZ are playing it, it certainly seems like there is a likelihood that they could split the series here, a map a pop. But I wouldn't count out Black Dragons just yet. There's still a lot left to go in this game, particularly these last 2 rounds whilst INTZ are on defense, because this is where they need to try and make the most they can and really cause some carnage here in the last 2 rounds. Get yourself close towards that 5-round mark so you've got a very large buffer to assist yourself in case you do make mistakes when you get plopped over onto your attack. We are into it though. Round 5 has kicked off once again. And we'll see if there is going to be any major changes. For the most part, the consistency in this one has been through the roof. They've been sticking to their guns and sticking to their shields in nearly every round, Tim.
Certainly have. And one side is certainly benefiting from that. INTZ, the clash is working beautifully for them. It did on Dorms, it did on Laundry, whereas Hugsword on the Monty has been less than impactful so far, realistically. The one round that they won was on Dining, and Monty didn't really feature in that attack. So, for me, I'm not sure that they should still be persisting with it. But time will tell, I'm sure. It may well be that it can be decisive down here in the Laundry now. At the minute, just sort of floating round in meeting. Monty will struggle to have any sort of real impact from there. I think he's just looking to push around any potential roamers, but he's not going to find anybody at the moment ahead of him. So mid-floor is clear. Black Dragons have the control that they are looking for. Still very aware of any potential for these defenders just pushing around on the mid or top floor at the minute. But they're all downstairs.
Oh, here comes the Clash Titans, the thick lads with the shields. As they will spot one another out. Clash, of course, holding on the close angle, does have backup of Alamau, so that's the Sanguine Arsenic. Those small smoke canisters that can get dashed out and do a lot of damage, not only to your lungs, but also to your chance of survival in the round as a whole. Obviously, for Hugsword, that's the worst case scenario. He's going to be inhaling that very deadly gas, whilst also being zapped in the face by the taser off the shield, and that will rinse through his health relatively quickly. Talking of turning our way through the round, we have about a minute left here. BZD firing out the charges, that will tear down the shield. Smoke cans go out as well to give him an intro point, but there is a Banshee right on the floor. That will slow them down quite a lot, and potentially give the opportunity for a peek to come around if they run the risk of walking in. The drone will help with that, but it still makes this encounter so much more favourable to Duds. He can see they're close by as well because it kicks off. He kicks off by dropping 2 of them and cleans house, Tim.
Great start from there. Duds, massive double kill for his team. 4 versus 2 with Clash still on the board. One of them a Monty. Very difficult. Left in the same situation for Hugsword once again. And that was to just drop the shield and try to take somebody with him. Duds hits a 3rd on the round to close things out. And this one is going all the way towards INTZ at the minute. 4-1 on the scoreboard. As predicted, they came through Dorms and Laundry. Black Dragons really didn't show me any teeth on their attacks that suggested they'd be able to get a different outcome from that, so they are shut down once again, and we head into that tertiary site with INTZ guaranteeing themselves at least a 4-2 in the worst case scenario for this half. Best case will be 5-1 if they can find a way to get meeting over the line. They are deciding to switch it up this time rather than heading back to the dining room.
4-1. Airy stuff. That's rough as well, because I think that's one of the showings where we've been talking about the idea of the Banshee being used in an environment where it's very, very awkward to deal with, right? Because essentially you don't have many options of getting rid of it. You kind of have to get up in its face and melee it for the most part at the best of times. And the fact it's slapped on the floor like that, not only does it slow them down, but it gives you clear-cut info that they are being slowed down. When it starts being activated, you can see that rippling effect. He watches for that, then peeks into it, knowing they're going to come around the corner as slow as can be. Effectively just like a car that's trying to roll with a handbrake on Tim. It's not going to work well.
Nope, it's never going to be effective, particularly when it comes to trying to gather any pace or momentum, and that is the problem that the attackers face. As we said, the Melusi gadget, I don't want to make any argument against how strong it is. It is very strong. There is no question of that. The Banshee is very, very oppressive in terms of gadgets. But as we've said, Jackie, from our, sort of evidence of what we've seen so far, anecdotal evidence, has been that it's quite situational. It's quite in specific locations. PZD getting situational onto Vitz there, taking his head out of this situation, and that will be a good start for Black Dragons coming in on this tough tertiary site. They will get the first kill onto Vitz. Rook is gone, and that leaves us 5 versus 4. But as I was saying previously, situational for the Banshee. It's got to be used in the right location, and that was certainly successful there.
Nice opening pick. Good start, especially if they could get more. If we could have seen Lagunis with a backstab, that might have been a gigantic stepping stone into the round. Unfortunately, they get wise to it. They turn, block the rest of the bullets. You can't block the shield as easy. Issue is, Hugzord physically cannot block the electricity that is coursing through his veins. This round is going to be a lightning fight from frightening heights if it carries on in this manner. Time slowly grinding by as well. Down to the 2-minute mark, Hugzord again going for these slow info plays. The most he's getting off the back of them, though, is a little bit of info and quite a lot of shocks. But it won't matter. Shockingly, PZD, he gets an opportunity to strike, finds the headshot, and they can now push out. They've got rear stage control, Tim. They're making moves into the round.
Time to start thinking about getting that diffuser down potentially, but they will be unable to, as VNX gets a huge triple nitro kill to level things up, and that is a real hero play for INTZ there. 2 versus 2 now, and with one of those a clash and nothing on hand to be able to move that shield, things just became extremely difficult. Patoxy, he is just held in the corridor there by the clash, unable to take much more of that electrification damage, and Lagonis, he is on full HP, so he is the man that needs to move in and try and make a challenge here, needs to try and make something happen. Limau is just waiting for that backstab from Kitchen into the corridor. He's just waiting for that call out from the clash. He's waiting for time to tick by, I think, and for Black Dragons to start to get desperate and mistakes to be made, and he's just very aware that I'm not sure they were 100% confident that the ace of Lagonis was actually at rear stage, but now that he knows, it will free up the Valkyrie to make that challenge. Limau takes Patoxy and a nice dip to the side, hits his shots on Lagonis and wipes him out of the kitchen. There will be no cooking for him tonight. Limau is the one cooking with gas.
Mate, he had the dance moves there. Beautiful play. And talking of moves, that was a stage play that has gone horrifically wrong. The nitro dashed onto the back of rear stage, blowing 3 people to bits. One by one, the bodies cascade through the air. That's impressive. From the position we had it, I didn't even clock that it was the full 3 until we saw the kill feed pop up. Just sheer madness that he's been able to effectively save a round that they had no stake in. It felt like it was done. It felt like that one had been swept up into the pan and was being transitioned towards the bin. But they have fought their way back. They bite the hand off, the pan gets dropped, and they walk away with a very explosive round.
Full of great moments, that round. No two ways. The opening kill from PZD, we've just seen a replay of it. It was a beautiful headshot. Just predicted the man on the armory corridor barricade and completely shut him down there. But then Limau, that last finish, the 1-2, gave him the old left-right shuffle. It was an absolute beauty. Went one way, dropped right, just pulled his shoulder into the crouch position. Nice and easy for Limau. And that closed the round out for INTZ, and we now find ourselves 5-1. And the question is, Jackie, how can Black Dragons handle this situation? INTZ showed us that they were capable of almost bringing it all the way back in. Do Black Dragons have the same sort of resilience? They have gone on a real slide since they were 5-0 up. It took them another 7 rounds to get 2 on the board and push Cafe over the line. They haven't had a great win record in the last 16 rounds. It's not been ideal for them.
No, it's been rough. Really, really rough. And that's scary because INTZ, you're at a position now where it feasibly could only be a matter of time as long as you keep playing to the level you're playing, where even when you're at a big deficit, someone is able to pass the baton, show up with a nitro, show up with a 2K in the kitchen. It goes to show the resilience is there and they want to get a win tonight. They want to take the series to a 1-1 split. And lickety split just like that. We see duds cut in 2. As well will be a push coming around from, of course, PZD. Patoxy is low, though. Their Jaeger nearly finished off straight away to kick this round off. But it's at least an opening frag for Black Dragons.
Great teamwork there from Black Dragons. We saw Patoxy just being absolutely hammered on the freezer stairs, but PZD steps into the breach and manages to take the head off Duds in quick fashion to defend his teammate. They know there's one on the course left. Fitz will shut down Patoxy and get a second onto PZD. Huge double from him to bring his team right back into this round. Ints, they seem to got that fire, Jackie, that passion that we've been looking for. They are bringing the aggression that they needed, and it just needed that momentum from the defensive phase. Fitz with a triple now. Nice nade going into Hugsord, and that leaves them now in an advantageous position. BNX will be collected onto 20 HP, and that leaves us 4 versus 2. And right now, Ints, there is a fire bin lit underneath them, and they are ready to explode all over Black Dragons.
1 minute and 15 seconds. Vastly outnumbering the competition 2-1. All it comes down to is them hitting their shots and playing with this aggression on their attack. You have a lot of time here. You don't need to rush things. You can work together as a well-oiled machine and fire from all cylinders when they do get close contact. Ace coming into play as well, attempting to take down the opening hatch and give them another opportunity. But in the meantime, they have lost out on one man. Vitz's vital signs are flatlined as he's been slapped in the face by a slug from the shotty. This is where it does start to get a little bit rough, potentially worrying, especially because that sanguine arsenic can finish off VNX, trapped behind the barrels and broken in half. Tim, they had such a large lead, but they're throwing it all away. It's all on one man now. Alamau comes jumping over the banister, slides his way in. 10 for acrobatics and even more for precision. But can he punish the last remaining member and show that he's handy with the steel? I hope he's got his gas mask on because his pathway is blocked by the smoke. Retreats back around, peeking in. He's got that lifeline. He'll fire out the shot and it does hit him, slowing him down as Hornetal will tank it to the face. Needs to be watching his close left on the angle with the bait play. Shoots the shot, but misses. It's a small tag as he dives round the corner. The shot, he'll finish him. He comes in with a blade. The wicked skeng man of Hornetal clutches it.
My heart can't take that, Jackie. That last 5 seconds was absolutely ridiculous. Back and forward, dropping, prone, crouch. It was all over the place. And ultimately, it's Black Dragons that are able to come through and secure what was a scrappy round in the end. But great plays from them because it wasn't easy at any stage. They found themselves 2 versus 4 and were able to fight their way back in. Now, Patoxy does jump back in, so I think we're good here. He'll use the 6th pick to get off the Tachanka. Don't get too carried away. I don't think we'll be seeing the Lord and Saviour just yet. There we go. Yeah. There were a few too many seconds ticking by for me there. I thought we might just, but no. He switches out to the Valkyrie, and we will continue on here without having to switch away from the game. But just talking back to that last round, Jackie, that is Ints just letting it go on the attack again, and it's such a shame because I got very excited in the mid-round there because we were seeing the sort of aggression and pace that we need to see out of Ints on the attack. They were showing us that they can do it, that they can get through and not leave it to the last 10 seconds. Vitz with a huge triple to really fire them up, but then what about that resolution coming in from Black Dragons? They were going absolutely nowhere. They locked themselves down, and then it come down to, I don't even know what that was at the end of the round. That was anybody's.
That was so bizarre. The ring around the rosies. It all went wrong, mate. It all went wrong. It was like a game of musical chairs, and in the end there was only one victor. And it was the clutch play, of course, from the defenders here as Black Dragons, you starve off defeat for at least another round. You keep yourself in the runnings because, of course, Ints haven't got to 6. If they do, that's a guaranteed draw at the very worst of them. The very best could be them getting 7 rounds and splitting the series 1 map apiece. But there's still a lot left to go. As Black Dragons, they have an opportunity to keep the game moving in the right direction. Moving on to a different site now, this time around, of course, up towards Storms. Vitz picking up the Cali. There isn't going to be a shield in play, but there will be a sniper with a hell of a scope, Tim. So let's see if it can take down a Black Dragons member or 2.
Certainly possible that that's what they've been thinking along the lines of, just aware of the potential for a 6th pick to go onto the clash. We saw how effective it was for Ints, so that may well be their little sort of back pocket. Let's bring Callie just in case we can use her to clear off that electrification as well. She's got dual purpose, and if they do bring the clash along, we are not going to suffer the same fate that they did to us. But as you say, it won't be necessary because the clash is not on the board, but there is still a job there that Cali can do. Plenty of long angles that can be held once this wall is open. From the balcony, you can see pretty much through to kids' dorms, so certainly can put that long-range scope to good use.
All right. 1 minute and 25 left. Drunks starting to push up. Their Selma charges. One of them going to get zapped. The other one is going to be able to land and detonate, giving him at least a look in through that hard reinforced wall. The only issue is they're starting to suffer a little bit of damage, but they do hit their shots. Vitz coming in clutch with the sniper will recock the rifle as he's dropped a man onto the ground. Mute has been silenced, shut down here, Tim, into round 8, and this does put a lot of pressure on, especially when he could build even more of an opening for them. There was a chance he was going to swing into that and look for a backup backstab. Instead, switches over to the drone to get the recon out. Good ping there straight onto the ADS to relay the info over, and spots out the Wamai.
Black Dragons really being pinned back, and you can see the pressure mounting as Hornetow takes down Hugzord. He does then get killed by Drunks as well. That is a huge two-man loss for Black Dragons, leaving them 5 versus 2, and this round is surely heading towards guaranteeing a draw for Ints. They move in, and Drunks will start to get that diffuser down on the ground. This is starting to mount badly for Black Dragons. Alemo and Vitz move in. They get the kills before the diffuser can be activated, and that's now 6-2 to Ints, and they are cruising to a victory here on Oregon.
Wow, that was a lot better. That was way better from start to finish from Ints. Also, you know, we were debating the idea of the Cali pick coming into a position like that, probably to attempt to counter a sneaky 6 pick onto the Clash, but that wasn't in play. So what did he do instead? He used that sniper rifle like a saint and delivered some very, very nice shots, picking up a couple of kills and shutting down the round, taking it 6-2. A 6-2 that at this point, Tim, I feel like is very close to what the final scoreline is be. I feel like at this point, this is it. It's probably going to go the way of a 7-2 shutdown. And he's actually going for the 6 pick once again, coming off the Maverick back onto the Cali. Wants to keep it rolling.
Why not?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Why not? Had success with it. Got the opening kill last time around onto Lagonis. Great play from the Cali, and it just makes it very difficult to rotate around site, because even a sniff of an arm, if you take one shot, you're down, and it is a really tough fight to take. So nobody wants to peek a Cali at all, and I say there's some good angles that can be held from that balcony there. So heading on to dorms once again, we're going to have a similar setup here. Now, Black Dragons, it's do or die. It's now or never. This is it. They've been limited to 2 points maximum. And it's starting to really look like the likely outcome is that they will only walk away with 1 here. And as I said, this result could have been very, very relevant come the end of the season, because I would predict that Ints and Black Dragons will be fighting in and amongst for the same sort of positions in the league table. So to come away with a draw, it gives us no clearer view, Jackie. It's exactly the same as Stage 1. We had to wait until the final week for many decisions like this to be made and many things to be finalised. And it looks like we're going to be exactly the same in Stage 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to come down to the wire. And it almost felt like Hugzord had been tripped over by a tripwire. But it was Vitz, the main man, the meme machine, the sniping superstar of Cali, that pops out with another one, shutting down Hugzord, getting a star-studded entry frag there off the back of the bolt action. Tim, that is sick.
It really is, and we question the Cali coming along, and as I said, why not? If you can get somebody who makes it work, then bring it and let them do it. Patoxy gets the kill onto Drunks. That's going to square things away now for all, and a nice straight edge for Black Dragons. They need to maintain the pressure here and certainly don't want to lose any men in the next minute or so. They need to be keeping people alive for as long as possible. With that diffuser down, it's interesting to question just exactly where Black Dragons have gone, because obviously from that small tower window, they could, sorry, the rear tower, the big tower window, they could watch that diffuser that was down. I'm sure the animation will have been seen by them, but they seem to have just left it out in the cold there, and they're happy to give that one up. They certainly don't want to be getting cornered and closed down in big tower, but I'm Not sure if there's just a silhouette of a man out there. No, it looks like he's in attic. So the diffuser has been recovered. That's in the hands of VNX. If nothing else, it's wasted 20 seconds while he goes to get that one. And thrown them wildly out of position as well. Ints now need to get them back into a spot. And you don't expect a man coming from Freezer Stairs on this location. Patoxy shutting down Alamau, but being traded out by Duds. 3 versus 3 and still a minute on the board. And honestly, I don't know where this Ints have been all along so far in Stage 2, Jackie. I've never seen them getting to a point of executing onto site with still a minute on the clock as of yet.
No, and that's the reason why it's felt so exciting and explosive, because they've changed their playstyle. They're willing to go for confidence balls. They're peeking in. They're looking to get opening frags. They want to play with aggression, and they're getting onto site with time still on the clock. It is a shocker. And I tell you what, the game so far has been absolutely stunning with the way it's been played. Duds firing up bullets through the floorboards, but the man that gets down, broken and shattered in half there will be VNX, suffering the same fate as Vitz as he peeks in. He does tag Lagonis and we're down but not outstate, but they're the ones that go out in the round. Black Dragons get another one as they keep themselves alive for at least a little bit longer. It is going to be a slog to bring this game back, but there is still potential as long as they keep winning these rounds. But they cannot make a mistake, Tim. They need to win the next 3 rounds back to back to back.
And that is going to mean going to one of those difficult tertiary sites as an absolute guarantee. We are heading to Laundry here. And if they win here, which they have to do, then they have to take Dining or Meeting. And they have to win there as well. Because obviously, of course, as I've said previously, we are on a 2-round rotation. So because they have won in dorms, they cannot go there for 2 rounds. So winning dorms round 9, you can't play there round 10 or 11. So Laundry, for argument's sake, round 10 could be a successful defense. Round 11 will then have to be Dining or Meeting. And that's not something that we've seen from Black Dragons so far. So we don't know what sort of fire, what sort of thunder they can bring. But right now, they need to act like a mother dragon, Jackie, sat on top of their egg. And that egg is 2 points. And they need to fight viciously and ferociously to keep it safe.
You can't give it up. You know, that's like a bear defending its bear children.
Oh, you do not mess with a mama bear, Jackie.
They'll kill you. That's the top and bottom of it. Don't mess with bears. Don't steal dragon eggs. Unless this is like a Harry Potter type, Tri-Wizard Cup type situation. I feel like that's the one exception. But even then, that's still a real dragon. So, Ints, they are looking to get a successful attack down onto the Laundry. The last time we saw this site was round number 7. Opened up with a kill from PZD onto Duds, but a big 3k from Vitz in the mid-round. Really mixed it up. However, if you remember, 2 versus 4, Jackie, it was one hell of a clutch coming in from Black Dragons. They were able to just lock themselves in sight and fight their way with a crazy ring around the roses to finish things off at the end. Will this one be as wild as round number 7, or will it be a little bit more up and down? Black Dragons, they have absolutely no margin for error here. They cannot take a loss. If they do, it will be a draw overall, with 1 map going in either direction and 1 point going to either side. So Ints, for me, need to close this out sooner rather than later. Their problems this season have come on attack. We've seen that tonight. Very good on defense on Cafe. Very good here on Oregon on defense. They don't want to leave this one too long, because it will start to become a bit of a worm in the brain as to whether they can get over the line or not. The issue with that is you can't easily get rid of it because it's in the brain. Minute and 30 seconds left on this one, as it is beginning to become a bit of a brain-teasing game. You never quite know which way it is going to go, but it feels like there is a chance that we could be going the whole way, right to the bitter end, if Black Dragons can get themselves 3 more rounds and stay alive here into the game. It is match point, though. Ints have got themselves to 6 already, and they only need to secure 1 more. Vitz, he's been on hatch duty. On the Maverick, running around, opening up every hatch in sight. He's done a good job of it. He was lucky to stay alive when he opened this one up initially back towards rear stage as well. But this gives them so many more avenues of attack. It just comes down to when they do attack. They decide to charge in now. Hugzord sprinting out on the Melusi, giving the game away as bullets will overpower her. PZD is low as well on the Wamai. It's not looking fantastic for the side of Black Dragons with the initial frags going in favor of INTZ. There has been a slight tag back onto VNX though, so the Nomad will be stunted for the meantime. This angle is blocked off as well, as you can see by Duds spotting out that Banshee, trying to get rid of it as he doesn't want to push past.
Drunks drops the hatch and looks to aggress in towards site. Freezer door is becoming a problem and will need to be moved if they want to aggress in. That is plenty of cover available for any default plant spot coming from that location. And right now, time is becoming the enemy for INTZ once again. 10 seconds left to go, and they are dancing with death here, playing against the clock. Hornetau shuts down one. Patoxy gets in on the game, and that now leaves us 2 seconds left to go. Around going to Black Dragons, kills raining at the end, absolute chaos on the server to finish things off. Black Dragons get another on the board.
Man, oh, this is rough because this is vintage INTZ as well. We've seen this so many times, Tim, where it feels like they get an opening frag, they get an entry, they get a kill that should put them into a position to try and secure a round. But they take it so slow, bit by bit, step by step. They never sprint, they never go in, they never go wild. We don't see them windmilling. We never see that aggression that we need to see coming out from them. And when push comes to shove and they walk into a site where the Black Dragon squad can just play crossfires with time ticking away, plaguing them in the back of their minds, causing paranoia, Black Dragons always seem to be coming out on top. INTZ are struggling on attack.
I think part of the problem there was the attack was quite one-dimensional. There was no pressure applied to Freezer, and as I commented, there was the man playing on Freezer door there. Always going to make things difficult if you're trying to push in from the bunker and hatch side to get a plant down, because the angle is largely covered. It's a very easy push to come in from that Freezer door. So Freezer was a problem, and then in the late round we saw a little bit of pressure applied from the laundry hatch, but it was only as a very last-ditch effort. There was nothing other than rear stage and pillar pressure to begin with, and it just made life a little bit comfortable for Black Dragons. They were able to hold angles and just pick people off as they showed the faces to push towards site. And I feel like maybe a bit of presence in Freezer, that could have been a big difference maker in that round for INTZ.
My oh my. All right. Well, 2 rounds. Better position than the fact that they were 3 rounds away mere moments ago. They're getting closer. They're slowly stepping in the right direction. I just have to hope that they don't fall over, Tim. They don't stumble. Because INTZ, all it will take is one mistake for them to capitalise, shut down the game, and split the series 1-1. Best outcome for Black Dragons is to keep the map that they've already won back on Cafe and get themselves a draw here to negate the extra points for INTZ.
It's that difficult third site, though, as I said, for Black Dragons. This really is the sort of trial for them now. This is where they will be made or broken. Simple as that. They need to successfully defend meeting, which is never the easiest of tasks. Generally speaking, what the attackers are going to try and do is open up the rear stage and then try to get a plant down behind the table, or sometimes push a little bit further. There's a bookcase on the left to try to get it down behind there, but somewhere around there they will try and get in there, clear out the 2, sometimes only 1 defender that is playing in meeting, and that'll give them access to that site. Now, Hornetau opens things up with a big nitro onto a Lemau, but VNX gets one of his own, so leaves us quickly in a 4 versus 4, and that's something that is important for INTZ. They need to keep themselves in touch in terms of the man count.
8 players alive and kicking. Time-wise, 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Concussions rolling through. VNX hoping that he was going to hit a shot there, expecting the reaction through the wall, but no bullets will land and no frags will be found. We're now down dead set with a final 60 here. Again, in a scenario where INTZ, if they can find their footing and find themselves getting this round, that will be a 7-4 victory. That's 1 round away from the best possible outcome for them. Worst case, they can take this as a 7-5. If not, it has to be a 6-6 split, and the game will be a draw here. Map control being taken, vertical angles being opened up, Drunks as well, using that Selma charge to try and smash his way through the shield, which will stick, and it will break it.
The famous play coming out from VNX as well with the adjustment onto Lagunis, but there's an overextension from the Ace, and he's been cut in half by Patoxy. A clean attack, leaving us here in a 3 versus 3. Vince, he spots him, but it's a little bit too late. It's a panic spray, and it's not going to save the day. Disarray being caused in the round here. Oh, no. Patoxy set ablaze by the Goyo shield, the flames on the ground, essentially the Molotov that will burn him to a crisp. He goes down in a great ring of fire, and that's the way the game is done. 7-4, Ints pick it up in the end on their attack tip.
Absolute craziness to finish us off there, Jackie. Tough to keep track of that final round. There were kills raining in left, right and centre, just being exchanged back and forward. Just power moves from either side, and nobody able to really get a full-on grasp of that. And it came down to a last-second kill as the Jaeger moved through that flame from the Goyo shield.